to the Essence Show. This isn't just the Essence Show, this is a special edition. Because why? I have got some fantastic special people in the house. I don't know if you've been following Mom in London series. If you haven't, you need to go and start watching the series right now on the Essence TV, Mom in London. So today, I've got my children, your mommy. My children are in the house. I've got my son, my very own son, Adeyemi. When I say Adeyemi, this is my own Adeyemi on Mom in London. So this is Dr. Emmanuel, popularly known as Dre. Yes, it's really, some really classy, posh name, right? I've got him in the house. We're privileged to have him in the house. And on my right hand side is my beautiful, tantalicious, swagalicious, Kemi Olude. This is my daughter-in-law in Mom in London, aka Sonia. When you hear Sonia, this is my Sonia, Kemi Olude in the house. It's a wonderful time. We are excited because we want to talk about, all those things we've been talking about in the drama. Today we're going to have like a banter kind of, something that is not too serious, yet it's going to bless you and whoever you know around you. So get people to watch this show, right? So today, you want to say something to our viewers? Yeah.
Actually, I have nothing to say. I'm just keen about cracking on with whatever. Hey, Sonia, don't even say that. I know she's always on my case. She's always on my case whenever we're so. I think for me, I'm just excited that we're having conversations that are very, what do you call it, issues in marriages. Of course, many of you would have seen a couple of the sessions where Sonia has been a pain in the neck. But yes, hopefully we'll be able to go glide through some of these conversations.
We are going to go through it. This is Adeyemi on my side here, Dr. Emmanuel. And here, Kemi, do you want to say something to our viewers? Let them.
Yeah, it's really interesting seeing the dynamic of a married couple with a mother-in-law in the mix. Looking forward to lots of really interesting topics.
Lovely. Today is our first episode and we will be talking about in-laws in marriages. Do you know what? I know there are some girls, some girls that will say, if you have a mother, I can't marry you. Yes, I've heard that before. Do you have a mom? If you have a mom, I'm not going to marry you. I know it's probably due to some bad experiences you've had in the past and stuff like that. So I'm going to start with you, Kemi. Would you have your mother-in-law living with you in your marriage?
Well, I have to be brutally honest and say yes.
Yes. Why yes? Why?
Because she will bring a lot of experience to the table. She would bring help, support, and she will bring a wealth of knowledge.
I know that your mother-in-law in this series, she's a good woman. She's giving you a lot of this. But what if you have one that is not good?
Ooh.
Would you want that as well? Would you still want her?
If she's not good, then
she's always problematic, always poking her nose into what does not belong to her.
So that kind of mother, I would actually, first of all, we have to have a very big house. If we have a big house, I can put her in the extreme, in the annex, in the extreme wing, so that we will not, keep coming into contact. Failing that, if we are in contact and there is problems on ground, I will literally have to slip into my Christian values and virtues in order to be able to deal with her, because the Bible gives us so many instances and scenarios where we have to show up and we have to pipe down in conflict situations especially. So that's where I would now have to hone in on.
Thank you, Kemi. So guys, you can hear what Sonia thinks. Not Sonia, Kemi. Okay, Dre.
Maybe Sonia.
Dre, would you have your mother-in-law live with you?
I think from a guy's perspective, it's a bit different. If I was to go by my own real life example or experience, I have a
give us that.
Yes, I have a very awesome mother-in-law. But just to add to that, I think it's also essential that mothers understand their place in marriage. Your role is not to be, the Bible says the two shall become one. He didn't say the three. And if everyone understands their role and their responsibility, it makes marriage a lot easier. I've heard stories of mothers coming into marriages and the marriage crashing. But also, I believe it's the responsibility of the son. So if it's the mother-in-law now, it's the responsibility of the son to be able to set the tone of how things should run. It is not your wife to be going and be telling the mother, don't do this. No, the son should be responsible enough to assume his role as the head of the home and set the standard on how things should run in the marriage. Because I've seen conflicts where the wife tries to do that and the mother begins to feel as if she's been disrespectful. So for us not to have those issues, the son, which is the husband, should be able to ensure that he assumes his role in the family and have very strict conversations. If my mom is actually causing issues in my home, we should have a chat because, by biblical standards, we're bringing you into the home to be a blessing. And if I'm not experiencing that blessing, then we should have a conversation. So it's either you get your next exit flight, or, and let's be real.
Yes.
I mean, my mom, my wife is never. She always says that she has the best mother-in-law ever. And that's because my mom has an understanding. I'm an addition and not a part of this marriage. When my son was still my son, yes, I can understand that. But my son has been hitched to someone else.
It belongs to her.
And the word of the Lord is the one that circulates at home now. So I'm more of a. In fact, they even say it. We give advice. We don't tell them what to do. It is not in your role to tell your son what to do. The best you can do is to advise. And if they decide not to embrace the advice, you don't have any responsibility to be angry because it's not your place.
Okay, mother-in-law, you're watching me today. Yeah. You're watching us today. This is Adrian just told us that, guess what? You are privileged to be part of that relationship. It's not your right. You don't have to dictate to them, right? So let's put that to mind and let's just live that way. That's the way God wants it to be. I'm gonna with the scenarios and the drama, the Mommy London series. I'm going back to that series, guys. If you haven't seen it, you need to go and watch it, right? Okay, Mommy London here. We find out that the friend, set a trap, tried to cause trouble between Mommy London and Sonia and all of that. In that instance, what should Sonia have done differently? Or do you think, because when somebody presents evidence or something before you to say, your mother-in-law is a witch and all of that, do you think she knows the mother-in-law enough? Should she have done better? I mean, is it actually the son's fault? Because for the son as well to believe, go to his mom and say, Mommy, and Jenny, Mommy, and Jenny. That kind of a thing. What should have been the right way to do? I'm going to start with Kenny.
Well, in the actual series, we didn't actually see Sonia confront about the...
She didn't, but she implied. That scene in the car where she says, hey, you don't even know who to trust anymore.
Yeah, but it wasn't direct to Mommy London. I would have thought that it would have been nice for Sonia to, in a real life situation, it would be, it's kind of dicey, it's very tricky, but if they could have had an open and honest conversation between themselves.
So communication is key.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So I think that may have helped us.
Because do you know why I think communication would have worked actually, or helped? Because Sonia actually has a good relationship with the mother-in-law.
Yes, definitely.
She has a really good relationship with her. She takes her like her own child.
Yeah. And just right on the back of what you said, and I think this is where a lot of the marriages, also hit the rock. We tend to get information from sources that are not verified or validated. And that's where the issue is. You hear something or someone said, and someone said. And before you know it, you are acting on an information that you have not validated. Hence the reason for communication.
That's right.
Someone came to Sonia and said X, Y, and Z. Sonia went to her husband and said X, Y, and Z. The husband ran to Mommy London and began to say, Mommy, you're a witch. And I'm like, that's the character in the
People do that in real life. People do that in real life.
But it's not supposed to. I think what we should have done is, when that information came, Sonia should have come to me to have that conversation. We should have invited Mommy and said, look at what we heard. Look at who said it. And here's the evidence. What do you have to say about this? Give Mommy a chance to be able to explain. You know, and I feel like that conversation would help in the long term to be able to set things the right way, not rather than making assumptions and just judging and saying you are a witch. I mean, I've seen my mother in the movie now, because Mommy London. Yeah, and this reminds me. We said something a while ago before we started the show that it is a lot better not to marry action. For people that want to get married, be careful not to be carried away with someone's action that you've just seen. Rather, look at the pattern. You know, what is consistent with their behavior over time. We've seen that. My mom, if my mom was a witch, why didn't she eat me when I was in the stomach?
That's it.
She had how many years to have eaten me if she wanted to till I was over 30 years. So why did she eat me till I was 30 something? And I had to wait. She had to wait for me to have a child, get married before she's now interested in eating of it. So I've seen that thing in my mom. She's a selfless woman. She's someone who is very dedicated to family. I've seen how she's brought us, myself and Sonia, out of a lot of issues and situations. And why wouldn't I think, because of one information, I didn't conclude that my mom is a witch? So it was a very wrong thing for me to have done and for Sonia to have insinuated without having an open conversation, because we've seen the pattern. That's not who, it's not consistent with her character. So why didn't we just have a conversation? Why did we just decide to assume? And that happens a lot.
It happens. It definitely
happens a lot where people just judge.
In real life, I've been in a situation where my own mother was called a witch.
My mom was called a witch too.
Right. So
this is like
in real life, my biological mother was called a witch.
And
I tell you, Bola Akode, Bola Aisho, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, my mother, she was called a witch. And that time, I'm telling you, at least people around, there were people that depended on my mother to feed them in our neighborhood. She looked after all the children from the other wives. And for someone in the house to rise up and say she was a witch. You know, it happens.
Yeah, it happens. Like my mom would say, she used to do so many things for other people. So
but why would someone just look at someone and call them a witch?
Well, I think when things sometimes do not add up, it's like, maybe because nobody is perfect, right? Maybe she made a mistake, and they can just come around and say, oh, the person that behaved that way is a witch or something. Or some seer, some prophet, some babalawo, somebody has seen something and say, there is somebody in your family, she's this tall, she's this color, complexion, that person is a witch. And instead of the other person to think about it and think, okay, this is a Christian woman, this is what she's done in the past, she couldn't have been a witch or something, they assume.
And now that you just said that, Mommy, I think this also is a call for us as married couples, as young people, to ensure that the fire on your altar as a young person is burning. If your spirit man, if your Christian life is burning, why would the witch stay around? In the first instance, because I feel like the only reason why flies will perch on a cold stone is because it's cold. If you're hot, flies will not perch on you.
That's absolutely.
So my mother cannot be a witch around where I am. If you get what I mean? Because something will bring out the nature of the witchcraft.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
So if it has not brought it out all these years, why is it just that information that will then make her a witch?
Exactly. That's what I used to weigh my own scenario with my mom. So this is crazy. How would she be a witch? And I looked at her behavior, I looked at everything she did, I looked at her spiritual life, I looked at my own spiritual life, and I thought, it doesn't fit.
Yeah, it's not consistent.
If it was that she was in, I would have known. I would have known deep down in my spirit. So I immediately I didn't even discuss it with her. I just discounted that influence.
So in just to wrap up this whole thing today, we need to show our Christian values. That was the first point you made. If you have a difficult mother-in-law, please don't pray for her to die. Because you have children. You have children that are going to grow to get married as girls, to go into somebody's house. You have boys, male children that are going to bring other, women into their homes. You can't pray for the mothers to die. If you are someone that is praying that kind of prayer, God forbid that happens to you. Because you don't want to die, when you should be eating the fruit of your labor over your children, enjoying them. So please, it's important for us, to make sure that we bring out the Christian values in us. We live as true and genuine children of God, And Emmanuel made a point as well. let fire on your altar continue to burn. Don't let it go down. So, mother-in-laws, father-in-laws, sister-in-laws, all of us too, we need to know that it's not a right to be in a relationship. Two shall come together. He didn't say mother and daddy. He said, leave your mother and father and cleave unto your wife, and two of you will become one. They have left mother. So mothers, please, let's stay where we are supposed to be. And when we're privileged to be there, let's see it as a privilege and celebrate God for it. So on that, we are going to end this episode today. Thank you, Dre.
Yes.
For being here, and thank you, Kemi, for being here. So next week is another day. We look forward to seeing you. Please make sure you share this video. Tell people about it. We're having this conversation, Ubanta, If you don't know, yeah, just like you. Okay, we see you next week. God bless you.
What can be done to this matter? What can be done to this matter? Hey, matter of love, oh. Now waiting we go do for this matter. Kill out she sorrow, yo. What can be done, oh. Now waiting we go do, waiting we go do.
I think Yemi wanted it. Sonia did not want it because there have been things that have been underlying in the mind of the woman. And women, sometimes, not all women are expressive in telling their husbands what the situation is. So I think one lesson we need to learn here is a man must be observant and understand his wife's moods. Have conversations. Is everything okay? She's back from work. How is work today? Is there anything that, I know.
Nobody go green, nobody go green. Kill out she sorrow, yo. What shall be done, oh.
Now waiting we go do, waiting we go do,
kill out she
waiting we go do.
For this matter, mommy London, matter don't happen.